Hello there friends, Mr. E here, and today, some very important news for those of you who are keen to get your hands on, or at least get your eyes on the Skitarii before the actual release date, which is just next Tuesday. Like, we are so desperately close to this. And if you cannot hold off any longer in seeing what this class has in store, well, then I have some delightful news for you, which is that the early access creators are able to lift the embargo and start to produce content, meaning streaming the test server live starting this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 10 a.m. rather, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I know of at least one creator so far that has publicly declared this, so I'll only be naming that one, although I have squared away at least 2 collaborations with streamers who can show this stuff at later times, and we will obviously be showcasing a lot of it here on the channel. So as far as what you can expect from me, I'll be collaborating with these streamers. You can tune into my stream. We'll be doing a stream together sort of a collaboration thing on Twitch. I'm uncertain if YouTube has a similar functionality, but we should obviously be giving all of our views as possible to these absolutely phenomenal allies who have allowed us to piggyback in here and glean that ever so important information. And of course, at the same time, you'll be able to start to see videos about Skitarii on the channel, the normal sort of videos that I do preview, style towards a class release, where I'm not going to get into, giving you a tier list or any build guides or anything like that, because how could one possibly know? And I don't want to steer you away from something you might experience on your own, but just sort of more, hey, what weapons does this class have? What blessings can you expect? How does this certain mechanic function? So you have an idea what you can look forward to going into the patch and what you should be leveling towards if you are interested. So that's what you can expect from me on the channel over those 4 or so days. And then once the 23rd rolls around, it's going to be absolute gangbusters, because I'll be leveling just alongside you guys. We'll be live on YouTube, live on Twitch. There might even be some bonus stuff to get on Twitch. I'm still confirming that, but yeah, there's going to be obviously a fuck ton of content coming out. There's not even to beat around the bush there, but yeah, an absolute fuck ton of Skitarii content coming your way. I'm absolutely dying to get my hands on this class because I think it has so much potential. So that's what we got to look forward to. Reminder again, that is on the 19th, this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be live and streaming, and then I'll just jump in with our fellow creator who's been gracious enough to let us piggyback. So let's get underway here and talk about some other stuff that I think is really interesting we have to look forward to. And also a reminder, there's going to be just one more dev blog that we'll be going over. Hopefully it comes out tomorrow. That would make sense if it came out tomorrow, about the weaponry. So there'll be one more pre-Skitarii thing with the developer dev blog on weaponry, probably tomorrow, which will be really cool. But as you can see here, we have the Steam page. This is the Steam sale page, which, first of all, this is so much more in-depth and polished than anything they did for Hivescum. Really makes me think they got all their ducks in a row here for the old Skitarii release, which makes sense because it's a pretty big deal. We've had these transonic blades looking very nice. I can't wait to see the animations on these in game. Then we have our trio of skitties down here, and then we have something that is very cool that has me a little bit curious, because these are armor sets, and these are the progression armor sets. So in the base game, many people kind of overlook this, but when you're leveling up your character, you passively unlock just basic armor sets that have additional filigrees, additional armor pieces as you're going from level 1 to level 30. And that same thing is going to go on with our Skitarii here. So we're starting out with our basic Skitarii Ranger, then we're getting a little bit more armoring, of a nicer hood, a little bit more filigreed chestplate. Then we're going into the more Vanguard and Martial styles up here with these helmets with the what did I call this thing? The Biddly Bop, or whatever that is, the official name for it, on top of their heads, so like a Roman sort of centurion thing. That is going to be per what your background is. So this is the interesting part to me, which is, of course, you'll choose your Forge World of Origin on character creation. Previously, by the way, this did not feature Ryza on this list. It had only Mars, Stygies 8, and Branks Minor. So they've added in Ryza, which is one of the original 3 they showed on those early release documents, so the concept arts with orange, and then Stygies 8 was like the new one here. I'm wondering, because I saw people saying that the initial Steam store page that went up actually said there were 7. 4 seems like good enough to me, honestly, but if there were 7, that'd be pretty cool. The thing that I'm wondering about here, though, is because these are color variations of the same armor, how do you go about changing back and forth between them? Do you have to change your character's background, or do you unlock them all at the same time? What I think might be the case is going to be something similar to what we saw with the Hive Scum, where there's different cartels, and you can choose which cartel you belong to initially, which will define your initial robes, but then the other armors might be assigned to different penances. So say if you start with a Mars, you'll get the Mars for your basic progression, but then you'll unlock Brank's Miner's gear from accomplishing some various penances. And usually these sort of penances are very, very easy and are just accomplished by basic playing. So that might be how they'll go about this. Otherwise, you'd have to go to the character creator terminal with the little barbershop guy and just change your Skitari's backstory like every time you want to change the armor, which seems silly. Also, remember that you can, of course, change the metal coloration and the eyeball, or like the lens coloration stuff in here, the two color metal and the corroded level of the metal. All that stuff is going to be customizable, which is just insane to think about. I almost forgot about that when I was looking at it, but that is going to look so cool. I bet there's going to be some absolutely drip fits you can make, and this gets me so excited that they put this much detail and this much. These look like premium armor sets to me, honestly. But to have this just as the basic armor set, really, really hoping for more than just, well, please, Fat Shark, please. I know it's probably too late now, but please, more than just one page of premium cosmetics, because I'll give you money. Shut up and take my money. Like, seriously, this character will be absolutely dripped to the nines. So that's what we got to look forward to there. We got a couple more things over here. By the way, if you ever want to find like a little bit of extra information, if you ever want a little bit extra juice in your, as far as what updates are coming to the game, especially when we're leading up to updates, go check the posts page on their YouTube is a generally good place to look. So they've had, a few posts with the Transonic Claw. This is where we pulled that from. They've even put a recent thing out with the Servo-skull. This is, I believe, the default look for the Servo-skull here, but the default Servo-skull that follows you around when you select the Servo-skull Blitz can be customized. There must be sort of unlockable customizations either through cosmetics like paid cosmetics or the penance cosmetics like the Arbites dog has, because they did say that. And then we have up here, this is the look for the deluxe edition skull. Personally, I'm not a big fan. I don't really like the flesh still being on the skull. It kind of bothers me in the same way that with the Arbites dog, I prefer to use the absolutely, completely cyberhound or cyber mastiff, because it doesn't look so disgusting to me. But this thing is positively brutal, and it still has an eyeball, which just doesn't seem, it's still like rotting. Like, this thing is very well preserved, I guess, very fresh or something. But the thing that I think that people pointed out that is very funny to me is, of course, I was wondering if they would do this. They have embraced Skitarii tomorrow. It's not in any of the text out here, which I don't know why it goes so small when I click here, but it's right here. So this text, this binary right here, says Skitarii tomorrow if you translate it, which is was confirmed by some people in the YouTube comments and on Reddit. So that is very funny that they have embraced that. I kind of figured they would, because that meme has transcended this reality. And so we finally got it, guys. Confirmed Skitarii tomorrow, but not quite. Skitarii in a day and a half for at least previewing it. And then next week for actual Skitarii. How exciting is that? Oh my god. Okay, and then so finally, I said earlier, we're going to be previewing this on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be already live, ready to go, juiced up, absolutely vibing, and I'll jump in, hopefully with my friend Joe Plays Games here, who has publicly declared a day ago that she is an early access creator. She is going to be able to go live at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am going to attach myself. I don't think like a leech is the appropriate sort of metaphor here, because I don't want to be destructive. I don't want to be a parasite. I want to be a helpful little, like, at least just commensalist, but more like a symbiote, so I'm like Venom, right? I'll give you great power. I'll bring a lot of viewers, but also I might take control of your character temporarily to say, hey, you need to make this build, and then run that for me and see what that does, okay? And I also need you to show the talent tree like 15 times per minute and all that stuff. So that might be a more apt analogy. But yeah, so that will be who hopefully I can piggyback off of. I've had some talks with her about collaborating here, so that would be really, really cool. And I know that there are other creators that do have access, but they have not come out publicly and declared yet, so I don't want to dox them in case they're waiting for some sort of prize. But if you are one of those creators and you're listening right now, probably tell your viewers sooner rather than later so they can like actually come to your stream and view. I don't know, just a suggestion. Anyway, so that is who we can look forward to collaborating with. Love Jo. She's super awesome. She's the best. We're all going to go check her out. And I'll see you guys then. And I'll see you tomorrow for, hopefully tomorrow for the weaponry update, the last thing before we actually get to see this class in action. I'm so beyond stoked. This is awesome. Okay, anyway, thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Mystery out. Bye-bye.